Hello, you wonderful people. So for today's video, I want to say goodbye. Initially, I was thinking, well, let's do a video for The Flash because The Flash ended 2 weeks ago. Depending on when this video ends up ultimately going up, it might even be further out. But either way, The Flash just recently ended on the CW, bringing the Arrowverse to an end. And because of that, I decided to make this kind of a piece for everything, because I haven't been able to talk about everything Arrowverse-wise. Some stuff I've had, other stuff I had, just because some of the things sadly gotten canceled. So, you know, only things that haven't a like official end without it just feeling kind of like, oh, like this wasn't the end obviously you wanted. It's like, well, Arrow has a definitive end, The Flash has a definitive end, and so does Supergirl, Black Lightning, Batwoman, and Legends are in that territory of, you know, sadly things were canceled. So, but anyway, really quickly, if you are completely unaware of what the Arrowverse is, the Arrowverse was this DC televised universe on the CW that started with with Arrow being the Green Arrow show, and then that eventually spun off into Flash, which also eventually spun off into Legends of Tomorrow, taking characters and stuff from Flash and Arrow and putting them together in a team as a time-traveling kind of Doctor Who-esque team. But then we also got Supergirl, which was also originally like not part of it itself, was not originally part of the Arrowverse until it moved over to the CW and became part of the multiverse in the Arrowverse's multiverse on Earth 38, if I remember correctly. And then we had like Black Lightning, I believe was the next show. And then we had Batwoman, which also took place. Flash, Arrow, and Legends all took place on the same Earth, Earth 1, whereas Black Lightning and Supergirl took place on a different Earth, but obviously post spoilers, but you know, it's been a couple years. Crisis on Infinite Earths, all those shows ended up on the same Earth, so now they're all officially Arrowverse shows, even though two of them weren't officially, but still had their connection. So either way, to me, it is something remarkable. Obviously, we've had televised universe, especially on the more crime drama, police procedural type of scene with, like, obviously you have like your Law and Orders, and then you have like the Chicago series. Obviously, that's like Med and PD and Fire. But it's like, yeah, televised universes ain't something it ain't like it's like something new, but it is this interesting element of we've never gotten it like this, like a cinematic universe for superheroes in the form of TV in this capacity. It is something one of a kind that we've yet to get. I mean, obviously you can make the argument with the MCU being a connection between the movies and the TV shows, but the Arrowverse was kind of its own little pocket thing, and it's been a fun ride, you know, with every show. I am someone who is, I can admit that I'm in the minority in the regards of I liked every show. Every show kind of had its own fans, but I'm sure there was overlap between them, and each show had its ups and downs for every person. I get that and I understand it. I'm not going to say like everyone universally loved everything. I'm not, but I thoroughly enjoyed every ride to be here. And like I said, it's such a bummer that Black Lightning was in a weird spot of like, it has an ending, but it's still that thing of like, you could tell there was more they wanted to do. Whereas, you know, and then like Batwoman and Legends were canceled, and it's just they didn't get to finish their stories, so it is a bummer in that regard. It's something to be marveled at. Something like that has existed. I mean, it started in, when did Arrow start? Like 2012, 2013? I think it started in 2012, if I'm not mistaken, which I could be. But it's like something that ran for over a decade. Might have even been 2013 when Arrow started. Either way, it's like either a little over a decade or roughly a decade of this entire and so many stories and so many characters and so many actors I've fallen in love with because of the portrayal of these characters, because a lot of this universe gave me an opportunity to know characters like I never got to know them before. Arrow, I knew Green Arrow because of Justin Hartley's portrayal of the character in Smallville, and I also knew him from like the Justice League animated series a little bit, but there are just so many other DC characters like on the more lower tier that you probably would have never heard of, heroes and villains, that this show like introduced me to. The Flash is probably my favorite superhero like amongst the DC characters now, because the show gave me such appreciation. Like I was like, oh yeah, Flash is cool, he's fast, but it really showed me, I've made a video years ago talking about how deadly speedsters are, and the show really showcased that. Same thing with like Legends of Tomorrow, some being original characters, some being characters from the comics that I've kind of fallen in love with, just it being the wacky like time travel show that it became. And just it ended up being my favorite show amongst the Arrowverse because it was just so much fun, but it also had like such deep feels and depth to it. Then you have Supergirl, which is this beautiful like inclusive story that I think told very important stories with just everything that kind of happened in the world. Gave me an opportunity to see Kara and so many other characters in a different light that I never really knew. Same thing in Batwoman. Batwoman's the show that I know for sure not a lot of people like, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. Whether it's Ruby Rose's Kate Kane or Javicia Leslie as Ryan Wilder. God, I feel so bad for blanking on the character's name for a bit there. And just kind of getting to view this character I knew nothing about at all. And same thing in the case of Black Lightning. This hero struggling with returning to be a hero after trying to take a break from being a hero for the sake of his family, and just what that means to kind of pick up that mantle again when his home needed a hero again. So the show did such a beautiful job of showcasing these characters and giving these really interesting and compelling stories. And it's just, the fact is that we've got this is just, it's still mind-blowing, and it's just something of this scale and magnitude I doubt you get. Once again, you have the MCU, you have the DCU, where they're going to be blending movie and TV in that regard. I mean, the MCU's already done it, but obviously the DCU's plan is to do that. But for this to be kind of this special thing, I'm glad to have been a fan of it since the beginning. And like I said, I know it's been ups and downs across the shows, whether it's like some of the seasons are better than others for people, or some shows are better than others. Oh, I like this show, I did not watch any of this show. To each their own, but as someone who thoroughly enjoyed every bit of this ride, I'm thankful. I'm sad to see things end. Like I said, I wish everything was able to have a more conclusive ending, like I said, on a more Batwoman and Legends front. Because of the Flash's final season, he gets a tiny bit of closure with the Batwoman thing and some other characters and stuff, but it's like Legends is still kind of left a little high and dry in some capacities, but still, having gotten what we got, I am thankful to have been on this amazing journey. So, and yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to talk about. Obviously, use this video, once again, I know people are going to have different opinions, but, share some of your fond memories of the Arrowverse. I think this is kind of, just kind of be a beautiful send-off to everything. You don't have to necessarily talk about what you didn't like, but you can, I mean, if you want to be honest, but you can also talk about, just focus on the things you did like. So, to each their own, right? So, but this is going to be something I will look back on finally as like, holy crap, this is something cool that happened in my lifetime. And it's going to be one of those things I geek out about from years. I was like, oh, back in my day, we had the Arrowverse, so like a very widespreading televised superhero universe. But yeah, I think that's really all I wanted to talk about. So the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and good